No interviews.
Every hotel in Edinburgh were fully booked. I phoned to 20, 30 hotels and no, we are booked, sorry, we are booked. So we decided to sleep in the airport, on the floor. It was a tough decision with kids and family, but we have no other solution.
Two potentially connected, but potentially completely separate technology issues that have brought the world's IT to its knees. Microsoft's core computing platform, if you like, the big bunch of servers at the middle of the internet that power many of our major businesses and small businesses as well, went down. They went down in a bigger way than normal. You can imagine that Microsoft puts a lot of care and attention to making sure that if these things do fail, there's redundancies, there's backups, and it doesn't go down for very long. Some of those redundancies failed, and so a lot of stuff at the core of the internet went down, but that's now coming back up. All of that stuff seems to be resolved. The bigger issue was actually with another company called CrowdStrike. They do antivirus software, cybersecurity, and issued an update that went to machines around the world. And that update was bad. It was broken. It caused those machines to crash and not restart. And we're not just talking about your laptop at work. We're talking about the machines you use to buy train tickets, check in at airports, banking, doctors' surgeries, devices around the world, blue screening, not accessible, and will probably need an engineer to come and fix them. So the nature of the problem is pretty unusual in that it wasn't just a temporary problem. It wasn't just something you could roll back. It wasn't something they could fix remotely, particularly with this issue that went out to all of the individual devices. Because of the state that they were left in, effectively disconnected from the internet, unable to have any input, it needs an actual engineer to go in there and make the changes. So normally these days, everything's connected. We can remotely fix a lot of stuff, not with this issue. So Microsoft has rallied hundreds of engineers, I suspect, very, very quickly rolled back the system. And that's the joy of these things that are in the middle of the cloud. You can effectively store the state it was in before, take it back to that known working, known good state, and then you can do your investigation. Then you can work out what went wrong, make sure it doesn't happen again, change your processes, do all sorts of tweaks so that next time it's more robust. The bigger challenge is for these devices that are in your home, that are in your workplace, that are in your doctor's surgery or your train stations. It doesn't look like those can be remotely fixed. And so, at the moment, the only workaround for the CrowdStrike issue is to do some fairly technical manual stuff before rebooting it. And 99% of people are not going to have the capability to do that. I imagine right now it's a bit like sort of Apollo 13. There's a group of engineers in a room working out how on earth we can allow people at home to fix these things with the tools they have available. Can we get them to reboot it with a paperclip and a piece of string, basically? But until that point, it's going to be getting experts out to get in front of these machines and get them back up and running. I think certainly the recent issues we've seen have very much been issues at the core of the internet. It's been things like people screwing up the internet's address book so traffic doesn't get to the right place. And you put in your web address and you don't get the right page, things don't come up, or your streaming services don't work. Those things will probably pale into insignificance against this, and you can measure it in terms of the scale of impact on the company responsible's share price. And thinking, last time I looked, CrowdStrike's share price was already down maybe 18.5%.
A major global cyber outage has impacted companies across the world. NBC has confirmed that a new update issued by cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike has caused this outage, and the company is in the process of rolling back that update. The list of global companies impacted included Microsoft, Visa, a number of airline and telecoms groups, Amazon Web Services, major social media firms, Gmail, and banking companies. That's pretty much everything.
It's very much going to be a parallel effort. Effectively 3 parallel efforts. One of them is going to be crisis communications. I think you would expect to see senior people from the company up in front of cameras on air, putting out statements fairly soon to explain what's happened, to apologize and say how they're trying to fix it. In the background, you'll be people trying to work out how to do a short-term fix to get people back up and running as quickly as possible. And then I suspect actually the deep dive into what went wrong. In fact, I know the deep dive into what went wrong has already happened. The company knows what went wrong, where the issue was, and trying to ensure that that doesn't happen again and convince the market and all their customers that this is not going to happen again. Look, you can never rule out these things happening again. We are constantly changing our technology systems to make them more efficient, more powerful, more robust, and more secure. And every time we make those changes, there is risk involved. You cannot eliminate it. You cannot prevent these things from happening completely. What you can do is minimize that risk and ensure that if the inevitable does happen, or rather when the inevitable happens, you have backup systems in place.